I'm super excited for this opportunity. Like you said, my name's Kyle. If you haven't met me and you're trying to place my face, I'm the guy who brings this table out every Sunday. So it's really cool that I don't have to walk away this time. And I'm super excited for this opportunity, super thankful. And I've been preparing this, and I'm just super eager to get into it. A little bit about me. I'm originally from Ocala, Florida. Like, Pastor Dylan was my youth pastor. A lot of friends are here that came through the school. My fiance came through the school. And we went to youth group together. So it's really cool to see how God moved to get me here. And I'm thinking about, what am I going to say? I found about this opportunity a little while ago. I'm like, what am I going to say? And words like perseverance and battle and victory start coming into my head. And so I start looking through the Bible, flipping through stories, reading, trying to get a handle on that. And I come to this story in Exodus. It's about Moses and the Israelites. In Exodus 17, 8 through 11, it says, the Amalekites came and attacked the Israelites at Rephidim. I tried hard to say that word. Moses said to Joshua, choose some of our men and go out to fight the Amalekites. Tomorrow I will stand on top of the hill with the staff of God in my hands. So Joshua fought the Amalekites as Moses had ordered, and Moses, Aaron, and Hur went to the top of the hill. As long as Moses held up his hands, the Israelites were winning. But whenever he lowered his hands, the Amalekites were winning. So I've read this story like a few different times over the course of my life. I've seen it acted out in human videos at Fine Arts and just different messages, but I don't think I've ever kind of done my own research on it. So I went diving and I found a few things that I want to share with you. So you got two sides. You got the Amalekites and you got the Israelites. And the Amalekites weren't nice people. I did some research, and what I found is they would go around to different tribes and towns and pillage and hurt people, sometimes just for fun. And then you have the Israelites. Now, we read in the Bible, we know that they're warriors. They've been in many battles and many fights, and they reclaimed a lot of land. But this was their first battle. This was their first military battle that they've ever entered into. So at this point, what they've known is slavery and walking. They've went through the desert. They've seen God show up in miraculous ways, but they've never fought a military battle. And what an amazing battle to start with. You've never been in a military battle, and your first battle is up against trained people that go around, and their goal is to hurt people. And then their leader says, you're going to go into this battle, and I'm going to go up on this hill and raise my hands, and I'm going to have the staff of God in my hands. And I wondered what the staff, why is he holding the staff above his head? Why the staff? And so I did my research. I formed my own kind of idea, and I took it to the middle schoolers during Sunday school. I wanted to see their thoughts. And so I had this student, every time that I would say he raised the staff above his head, he would try to like poke fun at me and say, it's just a stick. I'd be like, he raised the staff above his head, it's a stick. And that went on for like the 20-minute class. It's a stick, it's a staff, it's a stick, it's a staff, back and forth and back and forth. And then I finally said to the Israelites, it wasn't just a stick. So they've been brought out of slavery. They're being chased by the Egyptians. God split the Red Sea, and to them, every time God moved, there was that staff. It's the staff that Aaron took to Pharaoh and God turned into a serpent. It's the staff that Moses raised above his head and the sea split. It's the staff that Moses struck the rock with and the water started to flow. So to the Israelites, it wasn't just a stick. It was the reminder. It was synonymous with the supernatural power of God to them. They know that every time that staff, there I go, every time the staff showed up, every time that staff was involved, God moved in a miraculous way. The sea split, the water ran. They know it to be synonymous with the power and promise of God. So here they are in an unexpected battle. They've never been in war before. It's their first military battle. Their leader's saying, we're going to go into this battle. It's going to be okay. I'm going to go up on this hill and I'm going to raise the staff above my head. So every time that the Israelites would look up, they would see their shepherd, their leader, holding up what they know to be synonymous with the power and presence of God. So every time he raised the staff, it was saying, remember that your God has brought you through everything. He's shown up supernaturally everywhere else. So this battle might seem impossible. This battle might seem new. This battle might seem scary, but your God has shown up every other place, and he's going to show up here again. So I had a couple of questions. One was, what was the staff? And I did some research and found that out. And my next overall question was, well, how was the battle won? Like, what happened that it won the battle? And my first point is we have to be focused on the power and the promise of God. I think we've all been through a battle or two, maybe some of us. It looks different for each and every one of us. The Israelites entered into an unexpected battle, a battle that they've never been to, a scary battle, a different battle. And their leader said, rely on the power of God and we'll make it through. I'm in a bit of a transition season in my life. I'm getting married. I just got moved into my new apartment. It's exciting times. I'm super excited for it. But it hasn't looked how I thought it might look. It's a new territory, it's a new experience, and the only thing that I know how to do that's gotten me to this point is saying, I can't do it. Father, help me. I raise my hands and I let you help me through this next season. You've brought me through every other season. Lead me into this new one. And then the problems come. I raise my hands and I say, Father, I can't do this. Please lead me. And then the venue doesn't work out. So, okay, we pivot. Okay, we need a tent for the wedding. It didn't work out. Okay, we pivot. Oh, my car broke down. Okay, and I start to focus on the things that are going wrong. And I raise my hand so eagerly and I say, Father, help me through this next season. Help me through this new battle that I have no idea what it's going to look like. Help me through this new battle. And then the hits start coming, and every so often my hands start to lower, and the battle starts to seem a little bit scary and a little bit overwhelming. It happened to Moses too. Exodus 17, 12 through 13. When Moses' hands grew tired, they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and one on the other, so that his hands remained steady until sunset. So Joshua overcame the Amalekite army with the sword. So he's got the staff raised above his head. The Israelites can see it. They're reminded that their God is with them and he goes before them. And the strength and power and promise is what's going to get them through this battle. And then Moses' hands start to lower. And it says that the Amalekites started to overpower them, but in some translations it says that the Israelites started to retreat. So when when they started the power and the faith started to lower, they started to notice the battle a little bit more, and they started to realize, oh, my strength isn't enough for this, and they started to slowly back away. And that's what I find myself doing is, okay, the hits come, the battle comes, the hard times come, the unexpected comes, and then I find myself, okay, Father, you got this, and then the battle goes on longer than I thought it might. And then my strength and my flesh and my abilities start to fail me, and my hands start to lower, and then I'm like, oh, I better start backing away. We're not going to be able to do this. So Moses, his strength and his faith started to lower, but he wasn't alone. Aaron and Hur came up beside him, lifted up his arms, sat him on a rock. If Moses was alone, his arms would have lowered and the battle would have been lost. So if the first point is we have to stay focused on the power and promise of God, the second point is we have to stay in the community of God. It's easy. I say, Father, I lift my hands and I raise and I say, you can do this. And then the battle goes on. My strength starts to fail. And then my first response as a human is to just, I don't want to fight anymore. I just want to back away. I want to lower. My arms are already halfway lowered, so I might as well just go away. But if Moses had done that, the battle would have been lost and the Israelites would have been overtaken and the Amalekites would have won. But he had people around him that were able to come and lift his faith for him, lift his strength for him. When he got tired, when the battle started to overtake him, people lifted his hands for him when he couldn't. He surrounded himself with people that could have helped him. The Israelites were reminded by Moses, and Moses was helped by the people around him. That question kept echoing in my head, how was the battle won? And that's what I found, that they kept their focus on the power and promise of God. It didn't matter how scary the battle looked. It didn't matter how impossible the battle became. It didn't matter how tired they got. They kept their focus on the promise and power of God. And when it became hard to do so by their own strength and their own power, they had people around them that could come alongside them, lift them up, and keep them going. And at the end, they knew who brought them through the battle. Exodus 17, 14 through 15. When the Lord said to Moses, "Write this on the scroll as something to be remembered, and make sure that Joshua hears it, because I will completely blot out the name of Amalek from under heaven." Moses built an altar and called it, "The Lord is my banner." So when people back then would enter into battle, they would often be holding a banner in front of their army. It would be raised above their heads, and it would let the other people, the opposing side, know what name they came in, what strength they have behind them. They raised up and said, "The Lord is my banner," because they realized that they almost lost by their own strength, but the only reason they got through this impossible battle was because the Lord showed up time and time again. He showed up for me then. He showed up for me now. Moses was standing at the top of the hill reminding them that your God has brought you to this point. You weren't alone there. You weren't alone getting here, and you're not alone here now. I think we're going to enter into a new time of worship. If our musicians would come back. I wonder if you'll join me down in the altar and raise your hands and say, "Father, my strength is not sufficient, but yours is. That the seasons you've brought me through have gotten me to this point, and you're the one that's going to go before me into the impossible battle. Father, I want to be like Moses. I want to hold up the power and promise of God above my life, above every battle, above every struggle, above every stronghold, above every uncertain middle part, everything. I want to raise your power and promise above everything. I want to join in the community of God. I want to join around people that can raise my faith, that can be there for me in the hard times, that can help me, remind me that my God is real, that He's shown up for me in the hard times in the past, in the bad seasons, and He's here right now, walking in front of anything and everything that would come my way. I've been in those moments where I've raised my hands. I've been in those moments where I said, "Father, help me." And I've also been in those moments where my flesh began to fail me. And if there's something that I know is that my flesh and my strength may fail, but the only reason that I've gotten to this point is the power and promise and the grace of God in my life. And I think a lot of us can say that. And that even in this moment, I don't know what your battle looks like. I don't know what your current situation looks like. I don't know if it's a problem at work or a problem in the family, or if you're in a season of transition and you're not really sure what to expect. But what I do know is the Lord is my banner. That I raise his name and his power and his promise above me, that no matter what battle, struggle, stronghold that I have to enter into, that I will walk straight through it and raise the name of the Lord and say that my flesh is weak, but his grace is sufficient. That my strength will fail, but his strength never will. That when I come to an impassable ocean, he will split it open for me. That when I come to an unexpected battle that seems impossible to me, because I know that my strength isn't enough, that I would rely on his strength. That I would choose to remind myself every day that the Lord is my banner, the Lord is my strength, and no matter what comes my way, he's the one that goes before me.